I was just watching some of my videos that I put up on YouTube, and I suddenly realised I missed out a few things, and so I should add them in this video here. The video what gave me this idea was the one I called "The Day I Met God." Everyone they pray to this God, and if something goes right in their life, they say that God helped them. Or there again, something might go wrong, and the girl has maybe had a car crash and she's half dead, and they've prayed and she's lived, but she's lived a life now which is totally different from what she had before. She's now an invalid, maybe terribly burnt, 3rd-degree burns, and is really stuck at home and scared to go out because she looks like a monster. And yet they all say, God has heard our prayers. I mean, if there was such a God who feels for these people, because that's what they're basically saying, that this God feels for them, that God wouldn't have allowed that accident to happen in the first place. But you hear this all the time. They make any excuse. You know, a mountain explodes, such as in the Bible, when that city, I forget the name of it now, got covered in volcano dust, and everyone died breathing in this hot dust. And eventually, of course, it's in Italy, they dug the city out and it's there now, you can go and view it. But in the Bible it says it was God's wrath what did it. He hated them because they was all having free sex. But they forget to mention that these sort of things are happening all over the place. Not just that one city, and they don't mention the other cities. But yeah, many cities are being destroyed by volcanoes and earthquakes and such like, and all sorts of people are dying, including children. Now you can't tell me a baby is guilty of having lots and lots of sex. That's ridiculous. And yet they're dying. Babies are dying. 2-year-olds are dying. 5-year-olds are dying. 10-year-olds are dying. They're all dying in these volcano blasts. And they can happen over an instant. 1 minute volcano looks nice and steady, and next thing is it's erupting, and people are dying. And it's not necessarily a quick death. So I mentioned that in my previous video, when I first met God, I used to do psychic sittings with him. And it only lasted a short time, and then he stopped it because he told me people are starting to look up to me and he doesn't want that for me at this time in my life. And I realised, looking back, that if we could have kept that up for 2 years, I would have become world famous through the TV. I would have travelled to different countries like America and certain places in Europe, and that would just spread throughout the world. And people would have heard me in their homes throughout the world. And they would have seen these simple but still miracles. And in 2 years I could have become world famous, and I would have destroyed religions. Because I would have told people the truth that religions are man-made. And none of them are real. And they're all sending people to hell. If you follow those religions, you are going to hell because you're following certain ideas which are not good ideas, they're evil ideas. What sort of God will ask you to kill someone or kill an animal to prove his love, your love for him? Come on. Would you follow such a person? Of course you do. Because religious people say it's in the book. So that's what they're going to do. That's always their argument. But anyway, I could have destroyed religions, for sure. I would have wiped the earth clean of all religions, because people would have realised that I have got God with me. I am talking to him. I am in communication, direct communication with him. So my words would have carried weight. But the fact is, God doesn't want me to do that. He doesn't want me to destroy your religions. Because if I could change you all in 2 years to behave the way I do, to behave kindly towards other creatures, to give up, to stop vivisection and factory farming and slaughterhouses, and live with the world and try and cut down on the babies you're having so we can shrink the numbers of the world. That's not goodness. That's just you following rules and regulations because you're scared of going to hell. He doesn't want that. He wants you to carry on with the evilness that you do, because that is the true you, whatever you do, whether it's evil or good. He doesn't want to give you the knowledge that he truly exists, especially through me, because then you would have to copy the way I live. And it would be just as I've said in previous videos. If you followed my behaviour, you would be just like a serial killer in prison who behaves really well, doesn't hurt anyone, and always follows the rules. And then after 30 years, they think this man has changed and they let him out. And then he goes back to killing people again. Well, killing girls normally, young girls. They haven't changed. And if you forced yourself to be this way, my way of doing things, it would be meaningless. No, he wants you all, whatever religion you're following, he wants you to carry on the way you are, because if that's your choice, he wants you to have that freedom of choice. It's no good for him to force you to do anything, because it's meaningless at the end of the day. I mean, some religions, as we know, they say to the girls, you can't do this and you can't do that because you're a woman. But by forcing them not to do it, they're not changing the girl in their heart. They might be able to brainwash the girl eventually to follow the precepts of that religion. But again, it's brainwashing. It's done with force. It's not freedom of choice. No. If you do good, it has to be freedom of choice. That is real goodness. Everything else is just nonsense. It's fake and it's meaningless. And just a reminder, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. God will never allow you to know for a fact, without any doubt at all, that he exists. Because it might change you. You might be forced to change. And as I said, he doesn't want enforced change, as it's meaningless. But remember this, those religions who try to force girls to behave in this way or that way or cover up, etc., this is against God. God makes females to show off their bodies. And this is true throughout, if you look throughout the animal kingdom. Okay, some of the males like to show off, but it's one or the other. They like to show off. This is natural. You can't change what God has made. To change what God has made is evil. You're basically saying God doesn't know what he's doing, and we're going to force change upon these girls. whether it be physical, well, normally it's physical and mental changes. You say to the girl, cover yourself up. Girls aren't supposed to be covered up. You can see in the West the way the girls are half naked walking around. That's nothing to do with prostitution. Not that I'm against prostitution as well. And even God is not against prostitution. It's only the religious who are not part of God, which is man-made, all religions. That is against prostitution. That is, the religions have these false ideas about certain things. And that's why the world is being destroyed by religious people. The world that God made. Think about what I've said. Of course, I'm only talking to those few who feel there's something more out there than religion, something more to life. And it's just those few that I'm really talking to. They're the only ones, those few, who will change for the better.